Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. We're going to get started in just a minute. It looks like we had a couple more people joining us. With that being said, we're just going to go through a couple polls as we go through all this. On deck with us, we'll go with some introductions here shortly. We're going to let our host, Mr. Noah, let us know when we're ready to kick it off. Looks like we have a couple more people joining. All right, so we're going to kick things off here. So on deck today, RCN and Cradle Point, we wanted to bring you a quick, brief, if you will, discussion, but more of a presentation, if you will, about what we're doing as a team to help our election partners across the United States, from California all the way out to New York City. How is it that we are helping folks change the way they connect our elections, keep elections secure, and what's the ease and convenience beyond just deploying a Wi-Fi or Ethernet-based solution? How are we actually helping people do this in a way that not only helps, but actually acts as a cost savings over the long run? So today, Ben White with RCN Technologies, Regional Sales Manager for the West, and I'll let Miss Ann Hunter introduce herself.
Thank you, Ben. So I'm the Strategic Account Manager in Dallas, Texas, covering North Texas and Oklahoma, and I'll hand it over to Elsa.
Hi, I'm Elsa Jennings. I'm an Inside Account Manager for public sector in Texas. Definitely excited about the discussion today.
Yeah, no, me too. Should be great. So if everybody goes, wow, these guys are acting a little too friendly, Osa and Ann and myself have done a lot of business together over the last couple of years, and I'm super excited about being able to do a webinar with folks that are literally in the trenches with RCN and me every single day, and sometimes after work when we shouldn't be talking about work. So excited about getting to share some of the things that we do and some of the places we've been along the way. So the agenda today is really to talk about that RCN and Cradle Point partnership, right? Talk about some of the common election site challenges, and talk about some of the solutions we help deploy, not just hardware, but the actual service support deployment solution that Cradle Point allows RCN to bring to the table. And that NetCloud Manager and several of the, everything from NCX to some of the other things that Cradle Point really has as a secret sauce, if you will, truly building strategic opportunities for our customers and our partners in both wireless and the OEM market, if you will, to deploy a turnkey, ready-to-go solution that does exactly or as much or as little as that customer needs for the right solution. We do have some questions and some polls as we go. So in the chat, please feel free to put any questions there. Feel free to engage. I know we've got some folks on the line, if you will, who are in attendance, that some of my best friends in this world, like Adam Jackler out in New Jersey, who is probably the most extensive and knowledgeable person at Cradle Point when it comes to deploying elections, because he's been doing it boots on the ground for years while he was at a different vendor partner that we work with, it seems like daily. So we've got some great folks in the attendee hall as well. Feel free to ask questions, make statements. If you say anything I don't agree with, I will ignore you. No, I'm just kidding. But in the meantime, let's kick it off with a poll. How many staff members, if you're an election team, or if you're a vendor that works with election teams, what's your average staff member count on site? And I know you've worked with a bunch of election folks. How many of those staff members, when you think about paid versus volunteer, what do you think the split is?
I would say that most of them are volunteers. So yeah, there's a lot of volunteers and not employees. So it's definitely a feat. Different counties to have different polling centers.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree with that. So one of the things that I've seen, we'll have 800 polling sites, and there's only 6 people that actually work for the county or work for the metro that we're deploying at. And you have 6 people herding cats, for lack of a better way of putting it. All these folks who are trying to do a great thing and volunteer for elections and civil duty and all those things that are great and make America great. But at the end of the day, you've got a bunch of people that don't really know what you do every day, that you're relying on to deploy and manage that solution in the field. And it really, honestly, it feels like a lot of bull riding out there, especially in the West. It's hold on tight and here's hoping we don't end up on the news, right? So moving forward, our answers, it looks like we have a lot of one-man teams and a lot of 6 to 10 person teams. So that's right in the wheelhouse of kind of what I think Ann and myself were talking about. So let's talk about our partnership. And I'm going to have Osa kick this off and talk about overall some of the things that we've done together, right, in high level. Don't make me blush, Osa, but can you kind of share your experience and how is it we work with our customers together to deploy solutions like this?
Yeah, thank you, Ben. Since you came to RCN here a couple of years ago, we have done a plethora of projects from public safety to elections to POTS lines replacements. I think we've probably done it all. And the support we have received from RCN, it's been top notch. And the knowledge you have of the product and just kind of the creative point focused solutions, I mean, just have been amazing to work with.
Yeah, I know. I appreciate that. So when you think about the right ecosystem for supporting your customer, right? Because when that customer comes to OSA as a lead or as a cold call that you've made, or Ann, that you've been able to scrounge up from your dealings out in the field and whatnot, I'm going to ask you both this, but what does a partnership, or what are you hearing from your customers in today's, for lack of a better way of putting it, crazy world, right? We've got a crazy world. What are some of the key things your customers are saying they need to be successful?
So Ben, I'll take that. Our customers, they first and foremost are thinking about secure connectivity. But beyond that, there are a lot of logistics that take place in order for their staff and teams to be successful with a successful secure election. So there are things that they usually don't think of that someone like RCN can provide, and that is getting the equipment out to each polling center and getting the equipment out there securely and safely. They usually have to contract out to different companies, and usually it's young people that are getting those cases around and dropping the routers, and so that's a logistics nightmare for the counties. They also need help on site. If they don't have technical support, those volunteers really don't know what to do and how to do it. So with our solution, you guys have a one-stop shop where you've got a case that is ruggedized, it's secure. The volunteer opens the lid. There's a phone number on the lid that says this is who you call if you need assistance. Then after the election, how you store that equipment, how it gets put back into inventory, how that customer keeps track of all of those devices. So RCN has solutions to do asset tagging, barcode scanning, so the customer knows exactly where every router is and how they can be ready to deploy it on the next election. So those are some things right there.
No, I truly appreciate it. And yeah, I know from talking to our customers, especially in the market that you, Osa, and I serve, right? They're, it's not like they're hurting for budget, but at the same time, they all have to spend their budgets wisely because they're all, they all have a magnifying glass, especially in elections. Everybody wants to know how many pens you bought and how many slices of paper got delivered, and everybody's being nitty picky. So to be able to, in my opinion, one of the things I love about how we help election folks, we're delivering a lot, like you said, but in a cost-effective manner. What I love, like our logistics, because of the people that we have working here, like the president of our company and the team that runs our operations group, the ability for us to deliver from afar what people locally can't deliver at the same cost or a better or equal cost point, I love, right? The fact that we can deliver so much at a point of value that delivers way more than that customer thought they were going to need at a cost point that's in line with what they were already expecting and paying. That's where I truly feel like we come in and it's a slam dunk, and that we really deliver on something that's not just a, how do I get you hardware today, but how do I support you over the next 2 or 3 presidential elections and the years in between. So moving on, a couple things about our relationship. We've been an elite partner since 2017. We're one of the only small woman-owned business elite partners, and we were the public safety partner of the year last year. So patting ourselves on the back, I'm done with that. But can you guys talk about Cradlepoint real quick? What is Cradlepoint? Who are you guys? Because when we go into this next slide of what is election site challenges, what are we trying to fix? I think who Cradlepoint is the reason why RCN is able to have the success that we've had with our customers. Oh, so you want to take that one?
Sure. Yeah, Cradlepoint is the leader in 5G and 4G LTE solutions. We manufacture wireless adapters and routers that are used for a variety of different use cases. We have been doing elections connectivity now for probably close to 10 years, but we have certainly learned a lot along the way. And kind of our special sauce to our product is our NetCloud Manager. And that's really what makes it possible to deploy this solution with a lean IT teams where we can't afford to do a truck roll to every single polling site. And just that cloud manageability makes a huge difference to deploying this solution. So yeah, there's a lot more I can say about Cradlepoint.
Of course, yeah, for sure. So, Ann, I know you personally were in the field with a good friend and colleague of ours, Danny and Henry, and I know you have firsthand knowledge of what that site survey process feels like, what it looks like. Can you kind of talk about, just from a high level, from what you were able to show the customer, what were some of the value points you think allowed us to basically show, not just as a Cradlepoint device that can stay connected, but how is it you can pull things out about that site, and what were we able to show? Where was the value on the Cradlepoint side there?
So I think the value in our Cradlepoint side is that we were able to show the customer that our device inside the PNK case is safe and secure, ruggedized, and a lot of polling sites are built with blocks and their schools, their libraries, and recreation centers. So we were putting this case into the center of these buildings where there's very little connectivity normally. And we were able to show the customer that there's excellent throughput, there's excellent connectivity, that the antenna that's built into that case is second to none. So we were able to run speed tests on all three carriers, show them that they will have the connectivity that they need through that PNK case, and that it's also portable. They can move it around. They don't have to plug it in anywhere. It's very, very easy, user-friendly for anybody that is not tech savvy. So I think that that is the biggest highlight.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, when a dumb guy like me can help somebody find the right solution and where's the best place to put the antenna and take something that used to take them 2 hours on a site and narrow it down to 15 to 20 minutes, that's a huge cost of savings. And that NetCloud Manager platform, that centrally managed platform, that's what allows our customers to better get that information, but allows Ann, Osa, and myself to better help support that customer when it's go live time. When it's game day, that NetCloud Manager, that's the deal breaker, if you will. That's the magic sauce that allows us to really support that customer. There's a lot of hard work. There's a lot of logistics. There's a lot of business pieces that go into building the right solution. But damn, if it wasn't for that centrally managed NetCloud, I don't know how we could do as well of a job as we do. So I do think that that's a huge part of how we're able to help folks. The other part is the security side. By having a supremely secure solution, none of these certifications matter to the average election, but the point is the security that goes in line with it is built into it. So whether it's SIPA compliant certifications on content filtering and firewalls, to being a FIPS compliant router on the federal government security cert side, we're able to provide a solution that has the highest level of network certification, zero trust, network applications, a physical hardware, right? A physical security product with our PNK, which we'll talk more about here shortly. But we lock it down physically so people aren't touching the hardware. They don't have access to the ports. They don't have access to the Wi-Fi. We lock it down digitally with that NetCloud Manager, leveraging group configuration models or even individual device configuration models, separating and leveraging QoS and traffic steering. All of those things are built into that Cradlepoint and our device wrapped around it, or I should say our solution wrapped around it. And I think that's where we see the biggest bang for our customers' buck is, yeah, you know what? A MiFi might be less expensive, It surely is not as physically secure, and it's definitely not as digitally secure or ready for the just environmental issues that a Cradlepoint can handle like it's nothing. So moving on, right, that turnkey deployment, this is the solution we're talking about, our PNK. Now, you can deploy a Cradlepoint on the shelf and it will work well. The issue is with a branch router, right, though we love branch routers, and don't get me wrong, I would absolutely love deploying more E3000s across elections because it is such a great device. But what we have found is the mobility platform with Cradlepoint, with the fact that Cradlepoint puts so much power into their mobility solution at a great price point for the customer, you're getting an enterprise grade, federal government, major university, major branch security type appliance in a nice compact, take it anywhere, run it anywhere form factor. And our solution allows us to do a couple things. And Osa mentioned it, and so did Ann. The fact that we've got a 10 to 16 hour battery backup. So Pinehurst, Idaho, a few years ago on election night, my wife and I, it's raining, storms, and we walk in, the power goes out in our election site, right? We had to vote by paper and hope that everything happened that night. As constituents, they had to hope that everything got delivered back to the county hub in time. Our solution, they wouldn't have had that problem if they had had that solution that night. So my point to that is real world problems being solved by a purpose-built solution here. The other thing is, we talked about the volunteers earlier, and I know you personally deployed this. Can you talk about how hard was it to turn on and deploy? Was there a lot of work that had to be done for you guys to set it up and start using it in real time?
Yeah, so there was a lot of work that went into this. And I would say that the volunteer, the end user that is managing this device for the polling center is the point of attention. That's where the counties and agencies really need assistance. And that's something that is kind of an afterthought. They're really looking for secure connectivity, but this is a really big part of them having a successful election. So this case right here is so easy to use and user friendly. It has a battery indicator. It has everything that volunteer needs. They just have to push a button. So you're right, Ben, on the ruggedized part of this router. It's really a ruggedized router that these election polling centers need, especially how they're being transported back and forth between elections. That's key. So
I think that's the part a lot of people miss, right? Is
yes,
they walk into an election center and it's clean and there's these white poll books and everything looks like you're at a doctor's office and you get checked in with your ID and it feels so secure and well prepared. Hopefully, at least where I vote, it feels that way. Some precincts might tell you different, or some constituents might say different, but it's the setup. Nobody talks about the fact that a delivery driver that really doesn't care and probably maybe didn't even vote that day, right? It just threw this router out and hopefully it survives. And then somebody has to set it up. Osa, I know you've done probably a couple hundred of these, if not more. How long does it take to put 4 antennas on a Cradlepoint, those little paddle antennas?
Well, it might seem like a really quick process, but when you have hundreds of those to do and you have volunteers doing it, I mean, there's always a potential that some will break.
Break, get lost, whatever, right?
And I've seen the instructions. A lot of times the instructions can be confusing, especially if the volunteers are not used to doing it. And this is just so turnkey. Like Ann said, it's really at the push of a button and you're just removing all of that. And I was looking at some of our customers, their instructions to the volunteers, and I could totally see how it's just super confusing. Whereas with the PNK, all you have to say, just put it in its right place and push a button.
Yeah. No, we did a speed test who could put antennas on the 19, because I love the 1900, but it was not designed to have the antennas taken off quickly. So I've been in and around Cradlepoint for going on a decade. And I've put on a lot of paddle antennas on different devices over the years, from my old MBR 1400 all the way up to my 11 to now my 1900 that I have at home. And even on my 1900 2 days ago, getting ready for this meeting, I was like, how long does it take? Once you add the cellular and the Wi-Fi, it's a 7 to 10 minute process. And that's me. And I've got, maybe I have fat fingers, I guess, but 7 to 10 minutes. Now you times that by 500 precincts. That's 10 minutes times 500 for just the antenna before you could ever even start doing the where's the best place to put this conversation, or is it on and is it functioning? So just having a integrated high gain mobility antenna alone saves us tens of hundreds of hours per election deployment, and especially per year when you think about a lot of states do 2 to 3 elections a year, right? Hopefully you don't have a runoff or something like that. So moving on, right, from that solution, I think we've covered that pretty well, right? The next piece is, okay, we have a hardware, a centrally managed Cradlepoint NCM or Net Cloud Manager. Maybe an NCX is being used for your VPN architecture, whatever it may be. But you also still have those volunteers. And if I have that, we talked about it earlier, I only have 5 to 6 people running my election group. And if my election group, maybe I cover 500 square miles, right? And you have 3 sites that need people at it. You just lost half your team to a 1 to 2 hour long drive. So you have truck rolls, you have people on the road, you have your frontline defense for network and computer and cell phone issues. They're on the road trying to fix connectivity issues. Cradlepoint allows RCN and our tech lab and our NOC team to be able to integrate with that customer's ecosystem and deliver a product that truly is, we're their team. We're their next man up. We are their team on deck for the Cradlepoint, the network, the security, providing instantaneous real-time SMS, email, dashboard alerts, ensuring that if something starts to go awry, be it physical, somebody plugs into a LAN port they weren't supposed to, be it digital, somebody starts creating some sort of hack issue or a Wi-Fi connection on a device that's not supposed to be there, or going to some website they shouldn't be going to on a election platform, whatever it may be, we can now help optimize not just your connection, but your security, and provide that as a turnkey product that is decided and worked on with your team months and weeks in advance of election day, meaning our team is ready for go live connectivity, leveraging those tools that Cradlepoint brings to the table. And do you have anything to add about, from a support standpoint, when your customers say, this is what I'm looking for, what's their version of support they're looking for?
Well, they're looking for an A-to-B solution. They're looking for dedicated support. Our team, with an agency here in Texas that we've worked with on elections, we've literally had to be on a 24/7 conference bridge for 2 weeks at a time for the presidential elections. And then for the other elections that are not presidential, we've spent a lot of man hours being on conference bridges starting at 5 in the morning and going till 8 o'clock at night. So to have a partner like RCN that can take that piece of it off of our plate and off the customer's plate is a huge value add.
Awesome. Yeah. No. And I appreciate that. And I think more and more I'm hearing, we don't have a lot of budget. I don't have headcount, and any help you can supply, we're happy to accept it. I was mentioning a good friend of mine that's in the viewing session today. We tried to get him to come on. He works for Cradlepoint too now, but he's shy to be on camera. But with that being said, great gentleman, one of the best sales reps I've ever gotten to work with, especially in the New Jersey, New York market. And one of the things that I know him and I have absolutely done, those calls that you're talking about, weeks, months in advance, it feels like you're talking about the same thing over and over because they're so worried about what happens if this goes wrong. We have one day, right? Elections, and Adam and I know you with Dallas and Osa, you've been on the phone as well. That one day, that's their Super Bowl, right? It's even worse and more pressure when it's a presidential election because you have all these people coming in and they're hoping you fail because they want to put you on the news, or they're hoping you succeed because they want their county to look great. So there's a lot of pressure on our election officials to get this right. And I truly think, in being on those calls with Adam and being on those calls with you and Osa, I've seen that when we're able to go in and say, no, we've got you. And it's not just a we've got you, it's a we've proven that we can do this. And because of our NOC support, because of that Cradlepoint ecosystem, because of our vendor ecosystem, we can deliver that peace of mind and let them focus on what matters most, getting those elections turned in, getting those precincts filed at the end of the night, so on and so forth. So I've personally been in the trenches with you on those things, and I do think that part's important, that dedicated support. So we're going to go into another poll before we line up with the next one. This poll is, what do you most want out of an election site solution? I'd really like to get your answers on this. I think we're going to cover them a little bit, but also for you, what is it that you hear your customers say they want most from an election site solution?
I think that cloud manageability is huge, and the features, diagnostics, and troubleshooting tools out of NetCloud, that really makes a difference. During election day, we only have a day, like you said, and the team doesn't have time to go to each polling site if there is an issue. With a solution that's remotely managed, we can troubleshoot it remotely and take action from there. So I would say that's probably the most important thing that I'm hearing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree. And what about yourself? What do you, when you think election site solution for everything that we've talked to our customers about, what do you think's their key? I got to have this, or it doesn't fit me.
Well, I think that turnkey deployment kind of covers all of this. I mean, they're all very important. But the customer, after they go through a project like this, they realize they need a turnkey solution. They need a partner that can handle everything from A to Z. And then I would say dedicated support, because that's where the rubber meets the road. It's when things are actually happening and when things are going to go wrong. And so when things go wrong, it has to be executed swiftly and properly. So all are important. And I think that these are all things that RCN has, coined the process, and you guys have all of this covered. So
yeah, no, I appreciate that. And for me, I know Osa and Ann, one of our customers, and then one of another one out in the Pennsylvania market that we're working with a great vendor partner of ours out in New Jersey. One of their biggest concerns was, what do we do once the election's over? Where's this stuff get put, and how does it get set up? And basically what I'm saying is the logistics of storage, right? And so one of the things that I love about the PNK, especially in talking with one of our customers out in the Texas market, is our solution's built for palletization. It's built for being scanned in easily. It's built for being stored in a warehouse. It's not being put in a box and then bubble wrapped, and then we got to dig everything out and then rescan everything in right before an election, and hopefully the SIMs are all there and everything's good to go. It literally is an all-in-one in-case solution. So logistically, what do you do when the election's over, and how do you deploy the day or 2 days before the election? I think that's the other part, is the ease and convenience of managing these boxes and ensuring they can keep track of them. That's another one. So that turnkey deployment goes along with that. So moving on, talking about the solution, right? We talked a little bit about the PNK. Here's some more pieces about it that we would like to share. This truly is the engine under the hood, right? So Cradlepoint is the engine. We've built a chassis around it. Our friends in the carrier market, if for lack of a better way of putting it, so much great work with T-Mobile and Verizon, and especially Verizon and AT&T in the election markets. They are the two contenders, the powerhouses when it comes to election connectivity. They're the fuel in the tank that helps it go. All together, those three pieces, I think together, our teams working in unison to ensure the customer's got the right data, the right solution from a hardware perspective, and the right overall turnkey deployment support wrapped around it. I think that's where the PNK becomes a sweet spot for most of our customers. On your side, Osa, I know you've seen one of these units, and I know you've personally used one of these units multiple times now. Anything to share before we move on from this slide? I could talk about this unit all day because it's it's my bread and butter. I love it. Our team here has done a wonderful job building a enterprise grade solution that doesn't cost an arm and a leg. It really is a cost leader, but it's also a solution leader in what it delivers.
It looks like it might be heavy, but it's actually only 14 pounds. So it's really light to carry around for any volunteer, which is really nice.
Yeah, it's basically a gallon and a half of milk, right? It's not very heavy at all. you can carry a gallon of milk and some potatoes, you're probably going to be just fine. Yeah, I know you traipsed this around for a couple days. What were your thoughts?
So it's definitely very light, easy to carry around. It's ruggedized. The lid is easy to open, and I was really impressed to see the speeds and feeds when the lid is shut. So it truly is a powerhouse case. We've seen a lot of these different kinds of cases out in the market, and this one has everything that a person needs: the battery indicator, the internal power supply is second to none. You can see you've got access to the SIM. You need to change a SIM. So some of these cases, they bury the device under, a big piece of steel, and so you can't really get to it that easily. So this one just has everything that a county needs to be successful with their elections. It's an awesome case.
I agree. No, I appreciate that. And somebody asked, how long does the battery last? And it's 10 to 16 hours, and it really depends on usage, right? If we have an IBR 900 that's maybe connected to 3 or 4 clients, it's going to last probably 16 or more hours. We've got a 1900 running 100 poll book precinct, which we've seen it, plus a camera, like we've seen out in the Rocky Mountains, where we've deployed a camera solution for poll site security as well as connectivity. You're only going to get probably 10 to 12 hours out of it. But at a minimum, the power goes out, you can run a full day of election site for the majority of states in the U.S. Obviously, we talked about the Cradlepoint NetCloud. I'm not going to say anything more about this because I'm an absolute NetCloud junkie. I can't tell you how many people I've seen NetCloud Manager, as it's grown over the years, change the way people do business, change the way public safety helps people, and change the way network teams across the United States, whether it's federal government, public sector, local government, or enterprise grade deployments for just ensuring point of sale goes through. NetCloud is 100% a differentiate in the market. And I can't say any more of that. So instead of me going on and on about it, also, could you mention, like, what is NetCloud to you guys? And when you talk to your customers, especially in elections, why is it the thing that we lead with most? Why aren't we leading with speeds and feeds? Why are we leading with NetCloud?
Because NetCloud is the engine that keeps everything going. When issues possibly arise, we can troubleshoot and diagnose those in NetCloud. We can analyze carrier coverage, and we have all the data available at our fingertips, available with NetCloud. It's not just another cloud manager. It's so feature rich, and also the additional security features available in NetCloud is really a big differentiator as well. A lot of times when customers hear it, they just think, oh, it's just a cloud manager like everybody else has nowadays. But once customers start using it, they are sold every single time, and it makes their lives so much easier, especially for lean IT teams that only have so many people on staff who can't duplicate their teams. So
yeah. All I can say is, if you don't know what NetCloud does and you would like to call BS and you would like to see what it really does and how we can help your business, your government entity, your agency, whatever it is you do for a living, if you would like to see how NetCloud can change the way you do things, call our bluff on it. If we don't show you something that goes, ooh, then I don't know. I'll do the water challenge or something. But at the end of the day, it is a differentiator that makes Cradlepoint the leader in what we do. And I think it's truly the reason why we have so much success here at RCN. Now, another reason why we have a bunch of success is our NOC support. By leveraging that NetCloud Manager, by leveraging what we can do because of that engine under the hood, we're able to provide our customers proactive monitoring 24/7, 365. We have election customers where we literally go and sit in their operations center 4 or 5 days leading up to an election, the day of, staying the day after in case there's any disputes or questions or concerns around what type of traffic was pushed through here. We saw so-and-so do whatever on Facebook while they were using one of your routers, whatever it may be, right? We are there every step of the way, good, bad, or indifferent, right there with you or over the air. And it's very customizable to your needs. Like Ann was mentioning earlier, from delivering and picking it up to just ensuring that it stays connected, our team is here every step of the way to ensure that you have an on-demand configuration that meets your needs, that device is being maintained and upkept before and after the election, and then the day it arrives on deck, that it's ready for game day, right? And anything to add there before we move on?
Hey, Ben, I think that people are having a hard time hearing me, so I'm going to let Osa answer that.
Okay, perfect. No worries.
No, Ben, I think you're covering it all. Definitely love to get out there and do POCs with our customers so everybody can try this with their own hands and see how the magic works.
Yeah, that was going to be my next piece going into QA, is that if you would like to see this in action, if you would like to actually see how the partnership of Cradlepoint and RCN can help deliver an optimized solution specifically for your election site needs, both from a connectivity as well as the deployment side, we would love to have a deeper, wider conversation with you. We would love to understand what you need from us. Again, highly customizable, but we've done this enough, and we have a list of best practices that we'd love to share with you, from site surveys to support mechanisms. If you have any questions, or if there's anything you would like to mention or bring up, now's the time to do it. If you would like to ask us questions later, you see the info at rcntechnologies.com. And then there's our phone number. You can always call in, and we've got some of the best salespeople I've ever had the pleasure of working with, either under our roof or remotely, like Anthony Nichols or Kristen Messman, or our guys downstairs like Danny Sartain and my team here. So, of course, reach out to Cradlepoint as well. And Osa are two of the very best I get to work with. It feels like daily sometimes. But with that being said, it's because we're doing great things together. So thank you so much for everybody joining. There are some free resources we wanted to share with you. Again, do what you will with it, but this webinar is open for your viewing pleasure at any time. It's recorded. Share it with your friends, if you will. And if you want your own on-deck RCN and Cradlepoint team to review the solution with you specifically, just reach out, let us know. And then you can also download some of the PDFs like Noah mentioned in the chat. And also, anything else that you'd like to add before we ask people how we did today?
Thank you, Ben, for the opportunity and for the partnership.
Of course, absolutely. No, thank you. Truly.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ben. We've learned so much along the way, but yeah, definitely appreciate the opportunity to be able to talk about this today, and yeah, excited about the next election season coming up here.
Me too. I'm excited. It is what we like to call POC season. So I know it's primary season, but if you would like to kick the tires and make sure this thing actually does what Ann, Osa, and myself described today, give us a call, reach out. We're happy to engage with a true POC process, not just let me ship you a box and hope you like it, but run it through its paces, put in some success criteria, make sure it does what we've promised, and we'll do that with you every step of the way. Anything to add? Okay, I think we're good to go. Thank you so much all for attending. Ann, Osa, pleasure as always, and we'll see you on the next time.
Thank you, Ben.